Oh, but yeah, as I was saying, so the issue I had, and I talked about it at the end of like the last video that I put out today, but the Ghostbusters game started off really fine, and it's like, oh, it's Ghostbusters, you're capturing ghosts. And then the last two levels do what like almost every video game I feel that does, where it's like, hey, we introduced these cool mechanics that most games don't have, and it really changes gameplay. And then they're like, how do we make this game harder? It's like, why don't we just throw 10 million things at them that now just die upon impact because there's too many for them to capture at once? So the last two levels basically just became a shooter game.
Oh. That sucks.
Yeah, it was real fucking annoying.
Yeah, that sounds right.
There are Endermen in the Nether?
Yes.
That idiot, he just
Another
stepped on a
no.
magma block.
Remember when we were in Garen's world and we made a giant spruce tree out of wool?
No.
We're gonna do that again. Oh, I remember
Okay,
that.
why didn't we? And now I say, why didn't we just do that out of regular, like, get a bunch of wood and then
Because it was... I don't know.
just make a spruce tree not from spruce shit?
Yeah. I mean, that's probably before spruce trees would grow really tall, but still, I don't know.
No, like get oak wood and make a spruce tree.
Well, I mean, we could have just gotten spruce wood to make a spruce tree.
But we didn't have spruce trees.
We didn't?
No, because this is my original world.
There weren't spruce trees then?
There were not spruce trees then.
Frig.
What worked? Because there was 3 trees initially, right?
There was oak and birch.
Oh, there was only 2. Yeah, then they really showed off to us because they're like, everyone says that we're a baby game, but now we have so many trees. It's like, cool, you're still a baby game. Shut the fuck up.
They're adding another tree, Matt.
They are?
Yeah.
Now what are they adding?
I can't remember the name of the tree.
They should add
Baby
cherry
tree.
trees, and then we can complain to them that they need to add flies to make it realistic.
Oh my god. I swear to god, if they add flies.
I mean, they're adding fireflies.
For real?
Yeah.
What are you even gonna
Um,
do with fireflies in this game?
They light up.
It's gonna be like the fucking bees that they put in. Those bees are fucking huge.
No, they so what they said is they're actually 2 pixels big. So like if you look at a block and you see the 2 colors, it's two pixels. It's very
Oh.
small.
Oh,
Fireflies are very small.
that was lava.
I don't even know why I'm saving some of these rods for Jack. He's not gonna use them.
Jack's never coming back.
Yeah.
I wish he would just give us all his diamonds.
We'll just steal them from his house.
Yes. We'll just dismantle his entire house.
We still should really do that where we
Just
make
move
a
it by a
save
few
copy
blocks.
of this world and just go into that world and like blow up Jack's house and kill him.
The problem is you have to do it at a time where Jack would care. Like right now, if we were to do that and send him a picture, he wouldn't give a shit.
Yes.
You think that if we blew up Jack's first house, he would be like, "Oh, that's fine."
Yes, I do. I
Huh.
don't think he'd give a shit right now. He hasn't been on the world in like 2 months. He only came on because I mentioned doing the Halloween thing, and he told me if I text him about it like an hour beforehand, he'd try and join. He wouldn't have been on otherwise. Jack hardly is on Xbox at all nowadays. He's too busy with his PC stuff. He's moved on
Yeah.
from the Xbox days. You can't do anything to hurt him.
Yes.
Besides tell him
He
that
has found
chivalry's
superior
bad.
entertainment.
At least I won't be spending money on games that are bad anymore. I'll only buy games like Spelunky. I wanted to dress up at work for Halloween, but I have to go sample probably tomorrow, so it doesn't even seem like it would be worth it.
Yeah. They
I
were a
had to
good
jump
place of
into-
employment too. They'd beat the shit out of you for even thinking about it.
I dressed up last year.
I'm disappointed they didn't beat the shit out of you for it.
I brought them candy.
Where are you?
I'm not telling you.
In game, stupid.
I know.
I
I'm
know
not
where
telling
you are currently.
Oh.
Yes, the map tells you everything.
Do you want me to just sleep then? Is that what you're asking me?
Yes. Before I was gonna ask, and if it was inconvenient, I wasn't gonna make you, but you were playing stupid, so now you don't get a choice.
I mean, you could have just said, Brian, can you sleep?
No. I was asking where you were to see if it was an inconvenience to you. No, I don't
I
care.
thought you were going to go kill me.
No, that would be an inconvenience to me. I only got like 5 rockets left because I had to give some to Connor to make it up to him that I gave him the wrong coordinates. Which, to be fair, I gave him 4 of mine and then stole 10 from Jack. Which is why his pickaxe went missing, because I forgot that I had to move his pickaxe to grab fireworks. I was sitting there like, fuck. I'm like, what happened to all of that shit? I'm like, is this my fault? And then I was going through looking. I'm like, I saw the other one, and I'm like, I only own 1 netherite pickaxe. I'm like, something's wrong.
You know, on Reddit, there's a subreddit called Nice Guys, where just assholes who don't know anything about women.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've spent
And
some time
The
reading
picture,
that. That
yeah,
Reddit's real great.
the profile picture for it is a neckbeard with a fedora on it.
Yeah, that sounds great.
That's one of my favorite subreddits. It's
Yeah.
just that's all ball.
It is quite a trip. So entertaining.
Really helps you understand too why some women just don't give guys the time of day, because it's like you read that and it's like, God, if you had to run with like the fear that almost every guy you speak to could turn into that with you, I would understand why some women just don't talk to guys, period.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Matt, for Pokemon, because it relates to what we're talking about, for Pokemon, there's Gardevoir, which is like the heavily female. It's like she looks. Like
I
a
know what she is. I've
princess
seen Rule
okay.
34.
That's fair. And then then there's the other evolution, which I can't remember if it's just pronounced Glade or something like that. Glade.
This is the fairy.
Yeah, the fairy group, and I think their mega forms say it, but like they're like princess and knight kind of thing.
Hmm.
There was a video, and
They
the
had
Glade's
mega
like, "Oh,
forms?
yeah." The Glade's like, "I'll protect you, my lady," and it goes to her. She's like, "Ugh." Puts him in a black hole.
At this point, I think like I've talked about Rule 34 for anime and Pokemon so much that I don't know if people know if I'm joking or serious at this point, and I think I like that. They're gonna have to take that guess on their own. The one thing that's been killing me a lot is like this idea that people have now of like, if I'm a absolute shit of a human being to another person that's a shit human being, that's okay. And it's like, no, you're still a shit human being, like, regardless. And it's like, it also, I guess, depends on what you're doing. Like, if your level of being a shit human being is that Donald Trump goes out and says, I hate these types of humans, they shouldn't exist, and you call him out and call him a fucking shithead for it, like, yeah, you're being rude to him, but that doesn't make you a shit human being. On the flip side of that, turning the death of a young woman into a joke simply so you can go after Alec Baldwin because he's a shit human being.
I was just gonna bring that up.
It still makes you a shit human being because despite the fact that Alec Baldwin is kind of an asshole, you're still making fun of a woman that died with her family that's like all young on social and dealing with it. Fucking Don Jr.
And I was reading about this situation. Like they're all attacking him. It's like I doubt like he did not do this on purpose. And
No.
He probably. I mean, I'm sure he feels very bad.
Well, the problem is people
he's a
are
shit person.
Yeah, people are stupid. They don't understand how like the movie set stuff and everything works. So like already there are people that are freaking out like I don't understand why he was aiming the gun at someone that was off camera. It's like, well, she's the person that's behind the camera, so what was likely happening is that they told him you need to aim the gun at the camera and they were standing behind it to make sure the shot looked right and then the gun fired and there was something in it. It's like, so that makes perfect sense. And then there's also the flip side where they're like, why didn't he check the gun? That's gun safety. It's like, yes, that is gun safety. But one of the reasons why they have prop masters that check that is because the prop masters are trained where the actors are not. So, like, from the standpoint of him being an actor, he's not at fault because he's not supposed to take the gun apart or do anything like that. It's the same thing like if you were handed a machete or anything on set. Like, you're not trained on that, so you're not supposed to take it apart or mess with it because you messing with it will make it dangerous. His blame really comes more from the producer side of things because there's been a lot of stuff coming out, and what I think he will get charged for, if he gets charged for anything, is the fact that he and, like, sort of production crew on that were cutting corners to make the movie cheaper, which is why there was some dangerous stuff happening on set. So if he gets hit for anything, it's going to be that, sort of the negligence and, like, cutting corners.
We were talking a little bit about it at work, and we got on the topic of, what was it, Team America, whatever force.
Oh, yeah, Team America World Police.
Because Alec Baldwin was the leader of the Film Actors Guild. Yeah, good times.
That was a good movie, but it will always be tainted for me by the fact that Rizzo was the one that suggested it and then wouldn't shut the fuck up about it for a fucking, like, weeks afterwards.
That's fair.
That man showed a lot of actual good things, but he ruined it by being himself about it. It's sort of like Christian in Lord of the Rings. I'm sure I would have been more open to giving Lord of the Rings a chance if I didn't have to hear almost every other day about how it's the best thing ever created. That all pales in comparison to it, so you better love it or you're wrong.
Yeah.
Yes. Fuck Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
And it's funny because, like, I know before that had started, that situation with that, we had talked about how Lord of the Rings was kind of like a good example of fantasy because of the fact that, like, most of the characters don't just die like in Game of Thrones because it's a fantasy world.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't have to have things be realistic where people die.
Yeah.
Which
well,
you
I mean,
it depends on the style.
There's that's two very different styles of almost storytelling. There is, and it's not like one's necessarily right or wrong over the other. It's more death will be right or wrong depending on the story you're telling. Like, Game of Thrones and The Walking Dead are very much like, this is a very gritty world. And I know a lot of people like to use realistic for it. And I guess in a sense there is realism to it. Because, like, in these sort of, like, especially like Walking Dead apocalyptic, a lot of people are going to be dying. So, like, it makes sense that a lot of main characters in those stories get offed. But, like, on the flip side, looking at, like, Marvel movies and Lord of the Rings, one of, like, the old style ways and ways that you sort of handle death in that situation, in a lot of movies, you know when a character is going to die because, like, the movie sort of sets itself with a tone where it becomes very clear, like, even an hour before that character dies, of like, yeah, this character's not going to make it. And that's usually because these characters have a certain point in their story where their story clearly is wrapped up, so the only thing left for them to do is die. That, or it's like, you know, they're going to die because of the relationship they have with the main character. It becomes very clear that that character can't survive because in order for that other character to progress, they need that character to be gone.
Yep. And that was kind of the case with Iron Man, honestly,
Mm-hmm.
because he was being so like he was the father kind of figure for
Yeah.
Peter Parker.
Yeah, I
Tom
knew
Holland.
Iron Man was going to die since Civil War. I had a pretty good feeling that he wasn't making it out of the end of that. Like, it became pretty obvious that his character was getting written to do the heroic sacrifice from that point on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's how they do death in a lot of things. And that's why, like, it's very rare in a lot of material to see a character just kind of die randomly without any sort of warning that that character's going to die.
So Matt, as you play the Resident Evil games,
Yeah.
would you say that the original Leon, right, was a good cast?
He looked like him. He didn't really act like him.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. No, he didn't act like him, really.
Yeah, he didn't really follow. I mean, the issue is that none of the characters in the movies were anything like the characters in the games.
I know, like, the Redfields were...
Yeah, the Redfields were butchered
Yeah.
hard. Jill was maybe the closest of the four to being like she was in the games. But, like, they had to butcher a lot of it because essentially what they did for Alice was she just took all the major traits of all four game protagonists and they stuffed them into one. So it was like then if they created these characters based off they were in the games, they were just creating like a quarter of what Alice was. So they just kind of remade the characters completely. They
Pretty
did like a
sure.
whole weird thing where they're like, oh, the main villain is an AI. And it's like, I don't know where the fuck that storyline came from.
Yeah,
Well, that's like, honestly, I still believe, I've seen memes about it all the time where people are like, the only reason that that guy still makes movies is because he needs to keep his wife around him because she's has no care for him anymore. It's like, she's basically threatened to leave him, but he keeps her by saying, I'll put you in movies as a star still. And that's why he makes her naked in every film because it's the only way he gets to see her nude anymore. Like, that's fucking awful that that's what people are saying, but I'm like, it's also believable at this point.
I mean, is there any movie that she's been in that wasn't produced by him? Or
I don't
directed by him?
know. Not that I've seen.
I'm assuming Monster Hunter was...
Yeah, Monster
Very
Hunter
good.
he directed and she was starred in.
Was she naked?
I don't know, I never saw it. I assume probably. Yeah, he basically he makes the same movie every movie he makes. He just uses a different property. There's always army people. There's always his wife getting naked. It's like, why does this man still have a job? I'm like, and even more importantly, after he butchered Resident Evil so bad and most of the game fans hated it, why did Capcom say, all right, you're done with Resident Evil, but what would you think about Monster Hunter? Like, just get rid of him, Capcom. The issue wasn't the game he was making movies on. The issue was him.
You'd really think they know that because, you know, they should know their fan base a little bit by now.
Yeah.
He's gonna make a Mega Man movie.
Oh, God.
I feel like Capcom
Change it
made-
to... He'll, like, Samus it,
Or
where
not
Mega
Cap.
Man is just a giant suit, and at the end of the game, or at the end of the movie, the suit will open, and it'll be like, oh, Mega Man was really a woman the whole time. And it turns out she doesn't wear clothes in the armor.
No, Mega Man wasn't Capcom. It was
Capcom, like, has some sort of weird rights sharing with him now, though, because I know he shows
Oh,
up
do
in a
they?
lot of, like, their games.
it's like Nickcom or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot. So Capcom, which I forgot this until recently, they helped develop some of the Legend of Zelda games.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, because I remember playing Minish Cap, which is a Game Boy Advance game, and it having Capcom show up on the screen.
They also have like a few different studios too, I know. Because like they have one that's based out in America, but like their main studio's in Japan.
Okay.
Because like Dead Rising was made by the American studio, where Resident Evil is helmed by the Japanese one.
You know, that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, you can really see it by Resident Evil being like a survival horror serious zombie thing, and then the American Dead Rising is like beat a zombie with a dildo. It's like this is what Americans bring to the genre. That's a creeper.
Just wants to help you mine.
Well, you'd blow up in there? I actually wanted you to because there's so much fucking gravel, and he refused. He's just like, nah, bro, kill me. I'm an asshole. For one time I wanted him to blow up, and he's like, nah, not feeling it. He's looking at me like, you know what happens when I blow up? He goes, pieces of me go everywhere. He's like, my family doesn't get to mourn like they should.
Man, their bodies literally disappear when they die.
Yeah, they do that so that the game's rated E for everyone.
Is it rated E?
Yeah. Brian, Minecraft was intended for children. What, you really thought it was going to be rated M?
Yes.
I want to have a party funeral for like sad shit.
I mean,
Boring.
we went to a funeral service, like it was a church service.
Oh,
That was.
I want people to dance on my grave.
We didn't.
Call up all my enemies and just have them dance on my grave. Like,
Wow.
yeah, you beat me.
No, he's getting cremated, so we're not dancing on his grave.
You outlasted
Just put the
me.
pot in the ground and just dance on it.
I mean, he wasn't burned yet.
That's what I want to like write my own death speech and give to someone to read and just be like, well, some of you outlasted me and I don't know how. Others I knew this was going to happen. By the way, to Brian Zuck, if you're here, get out. You're not invited. Fuck you think you
And
are.
you know I won't get out.
Yeah. That would be more like for the fun of it, because then I'd say it and hope that there's a few people in there that don't know who you are. That would just be like, who is this guy? Does he have to leave? And it would just throw things into chaos. I like how everyone points out that Doctor Strange totally could have saved Tony, but because he didn't like him, he just let him die. Like, you could use the time stone. It's like, no, it was a noble sacrifice. Like, you just don't want to bring him back, do you? Shut up.
Doctor Strange could have teleported everybody back to Earth, and apparently Nebula was too stupid to figure out how to time travel by
Yeah, just
herself.
fucking leave. Like,
Hit the
oh
hit
no,
the
he's
button.
taking me
Right.
up. Nebula, press the fucking time jump button. No, it's too late. Press the fucking button, you blue bitch.
Yeah, no, there were like if that Nebula in that universe was feeling that connection, shouldn't she have
Yeah.
also?
That whole connection thing is so dumb.
It was.
It's like fucking Thanos, alien with advanced like internet. They can travel all over the world. Can't figure out how to separate Wi-Fi networks. Those are pretty good. I've been watching a few. They did one for like the new Halloween movie too. And they're like, oh yeah, at the end of the movie, we're gonna have Michael get fucking hammered by an entire mob. It's like, oh, so they finally kill him? No, because they only hit him in non-vital areas, and then when he gets back up, they decide then they're gonna use their guns, but they're gonna do it within grabbing range.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
it doesn't-
I saw that too.
It's Michael Myers. It doesn't matter if you hit him in vital range.
Well, no, because they're going back to original Michael Myers, so he's supposed to be human again. new movies are supposed to be based as sequels to only the first one. They're ignoring all the others. So that was like the big thing with the 2018 movie that they were claiming is like, oh, Michael isn't supernatural. He's still just the serial killer that attacked. We're ignoring the events of 2 through like 20 or whatever. And they're like, oh, okay, it'll be interesting
What
to go
the
back
fuck?
to the roots. And then they're like, yeah, we were doing that, but then we thought, boy, would it be fun to watch him murder a whole army of people. But we couldn't do that without making him supernatural, so I guess we're back to this.
Did you see the clip when, during the pitch meeting, he's like, they're just really stupid with their guns, and like
Yeah.
Michael like kicks the door and she shoots herself in the face.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that's not logical at all. Like, back up.
That is
You have a
all of the
gun.
comments were saying that is the funniest but most frustrating kill in any horror movie ever now.
Oh,
Yeah. Also, let's go with this. How is he not supernatural? He freaking survives a house fire.
Yeah. Well, I like that their claim too is it's like, she spent 40 years or something coming up with a plan on how to kill him, yet didn't think, well, if my house catches on fire, firefighters will go there and break him out.
yeah.
It's like that was never accounted for, apparently. 40 years of this plan. It's like at the very
shit.
least, you could have, like, told people, this is my plan, don't come here and do this.
Let him burn.
I love all the people, too, that have been saying, like, Halloween Kills is basically just a movie about an old man trying to go home and an angry mob of people that refuse to let him. Yeah. Well, they also, I guess, like, too, is like, because the whole thing with the original movies is like, oh, he's obsessed with Laurie Strode. He wants to kill her. And so, like, that was the first movie, was that. Like, he stalked her and was trying to kill her. And then, like, the new movie that came out in 2018 was also, like, him and her were, like, against each other most of that movie. And then this movie's like, oh, he doesn't even know who the fuck she is. It just was a coincidence that they fought each other twice now. It's like, what? Like, just a random coincidence he showed up at her house twice.
There's a
Hey.
reason why I won't see any of those movies.
She's supposed to be his sister, right?
No, that was the old continuity that they revealed that in, like, the second or third movie. In this continuity, they're saying that his sister was actually murdered by him, like the first movie implied, and that, she and him, that the only connection was that he was stalking her back then.
So what's the relation in this? Just some
They have-
random ass person?
No,
Oh,
it basically was
he's
just
stalking
that he stalked her in the first movie, so she assumes that he wants to kill her because he failed to before. So that was like the whole thing in like the first Halloween movie. It was led to believe like he was coming to kill her because she was the one that got away. And because she spent 40 years getting older and training, she's like, I'm gonna fucking murder him first. And then this movie's like, yeah, no, he doesn't give a shit about you. It just so happened that you guys came into contact again. He's just trying to get back to his childhood home. And it's like, what
And-
the, how? This fucking old ass man fucking breaks out of prison, comes all the way back to his like hometown, is like, I'm gonna go home, runs into the same fucking bitch from 40 years ago, fucking throws down with her, and at the end of the day, it's like, well, I don't know who you are, that was an accident.
I would definitely like the story better if it
Logical.
went
Well,
with
no,
the
everybody
other
says 'cause
series,
Michael
original.
doesn't talk. That's like his whole thing, is that he's gone mute since he killed his sister or whatever when they were a kid, and everyone's like, oh, what would you want him to say if he actually does speak in like the new movie that comes out next year, which is gonna end like the new trilogy? And everyone keeps sharing the Thanos meme of like her coming up and being like, you did all this to me, and him being like, I don't even know who the fuck you are.
No. If I wanted Michael Myers to say anything, it'd be, yeah, baby, yeah.
You want to become Austin Powers? I too easy there. You don't want him to
Michael
be
Myers
dressed up?
running through the middle of the fucking town. Donkey!
That would be perfect.
I'd watch that movie.